Calais Campbell didn't sign with the Dolphins to fade into the background. That's not how he moves. That's not what this was ever about. He walked into that building in Miami Gardens with a look, not just of nostalgia, but of unfinished business. This wasn't a farewell tour. He didn't come to sip pina coladas and share old stories of a Super Bowl that slipped through his fingers in 2008. He came to fight. He came to change something. And for a moment, maybe a brief one, maybe a hallucination brought on by hope, it looked like the team was about to catch fire. But 6 to 8 speaks louder than dreams. It's a number that sits heavy. It doesn't just mean losses. It means missed assignments. It means injuries piling up. It means the offense not clicking when it needs to. It means pressure on a defense that's been asked to do more than it should, and a locker room that's quietly asking questions without wanting to hear the answers. Calais, he's not just standing in that room. He is the room. The weight of 17 years in the league doesn't sit on his shoulders. It stands behind him, whispering, "You know what this means. You've seen this before." He has. Arizona, Jacksonville, Baltimore. So many jerseys, so many cities, but always the same hunger. Always that same feeling when December rolls around and the path to the playoffs starts to twist and break apart. It's not about stats at that point. It's not about Pro Bowls or contracts or who's on the highlight reel. It's about that ring. That one. The only one that matters. And for Campbell, that ring has haunted him for nearly 2 decades. The man has 43 tackles this season, 4 sacks, 10 for loss. And still, he's not satisfied. Not even close. He looks at the tape, sees plays that should have been made, hits that didn't land quite right, angles that were off by inches. That stuff eats at him. Not because anyone's criticizing. Nobody needs to. He's his own worst critic. Always has been. When he says, "I definitely feel like I can play better," it doesn't sound like humility. It sounds like a challenge to himself, to the team, to the damn league. But here's where it twists. The Dolphins didn't shut down talks at the trade deadline because nobody wanted him. That's not the story. The story is they didn't want him. Teams called. Offers came in. Teams that knew what a 38-year-old warrior with his mindset could do in January. That's the part people forget. Playoff football isn't about youth. It's about resolve. It's about the guy who's been there before and knows how to drag a defense through hell and back. But Miami? They kept him. They looked around and said, "We're going for it." They believed. And now you hear the murmurs again. Maybe let him go. Give him a shot at a ring. Do right by the veteran. But what does that even mean? You bring a man in to be the anchor, to set the tone, to lead a team, and now, with 2 games to go, you think about cutting him loose? Because maybe, just maybe, someone else can finish the story he started? He gets it. Of course he does. He's not naive. It is definitely something that you have to think about, he said, and he meant it. But there's that pause, that hesitation. At the end of the day, I've got to stay in the moment. That's the part nobody wants to hear. The part where a guy who's done it all, who has nothing left to prove, is still locked into this team, this moment, even when the math starts turning against them. The truth is, Campbell didn't come to Miami just to play. He came because it meant something. The U, the city, the idea that maybe, just maybe, this was where it would all come together. But this team, this version of the Dolphins, it hasn't clicked. Not the way it should. This team could be so much better than we've been playing. That line carries weight. You don't say that unless you believe it, and unless you feel the sting of watching it all fall short. And still he's here. You watch him on the sidelines. You watch him between plays. Not yelling, not showboating, just watching, processing. He's already thinking about the next snap, the next read, the next time he can make someone pay. Because for all the talk, all the speculation, all the noise, he's still playing like a man who thinks this story isn't over. But is it? Does he stay? Does he go? If the front office makes the call, does he pick up the phone? And if he does, what then? A playoff push with a team that needs one last piece? Another run at that elusive ring? Or maybe, just maybe, a quiet exit, one last ride into the offseason with nothing left but questions? He hasn't decided if there's going to be an 18th season. And why would he? How do you decide something like that before the dust settles? It's humbling, he says, when you can't do it at the same clip. That's real. That's the kind of honesty you don't get from everyone. But even in that, he leaves the door cracked. If the time comes and I decide to play football again, this is definitely a place I love playing.